Auntie M, is that you? Hey, no, guys. Welcome and hello and welcome and hello and welcome. Buenas noches a todos. Welcome and hello. It's Cornbread. Welcome and hello. They call me Little Danny Cornbread DeCarlo. They've been known to call me Hurricane Lopez. On occasion, called me Stock Karen because I am a huge Karen. They've been known to call me the tugboat because I'm short in stature. I pull more than my own weight, and I'm rarely far from my home port. Oh, what were some of the other dumb ones? They call me egg salad because I'm all mixed up, and by the end of the day, I smell bad if I'm not refrigerated. That's not really true. I don't smell bad. But anyway, guys, welcome and hello and welcome and hello. I think I woke up 1 a.m. yesterday. I had a lot of work to do today, and it was a grinder of a day for many reasons. Just not feeling that well in general. Been sick, and then a lot of work, and just of course SMCI falling like a stone onto my nutsack hasn't helped matters. But guys, it is what it is. Sometimes things go up, sometimes things go down, and sometimes they just land right on your head. And this was one of those days. What's funny is like one of the stocks that I've been caring about most is Neo. Like a lot of people are in that stock who are in SoFi and some other growth stocks. A lot of the dreamers, the hopers. It's funny because I certainly like a lot of people are very like you know you should only invest in American stocks, not Chinese stocks. I'm like I'm saying it's just I don't really understand that view. Like if you invest in a stock, you're like endorsing the political system of that country. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But it was just kind of the bitter irony that is like an Alanis Morissette style irony that SMCI gets crushed, and finally Neo's showing some signs of life, opening up a swap station in MENA, in Middle East, North Africa region, which is kind of supposed to be their next growth center that propels them. Obviously, sales in Europe haven't been good, but this isn't a Neo video. I'm working really hard on a Neo video because I just haven't been up to date with everything going on with that company. So if I am going to do a video, I want to at least have one or two facts in it, not just, the poor jokes that I've been known for. But anyway, guys, welcome and hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me on this not so special edition of Un Poco Mas. Um, it's funny because I've talked about a lot and talked before. It's just one of the things I look at is this false volatility. Like they make a stock out to be a complete madman when in fact it's anything but. It's the exact opposite. You see this one just on this was such a short amount of time. Just on the 13th, this thing was down basically below even where it is now, or somewhere similar, $40. The next day stepped up to 42. The next day walked it up to 43. The next day gapped all the way up to 53, and then this is all one day. Coming off of like 55, and then all the way up to 66, and then the really heavy shorting comes in here 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st, as you'd expect from the top. This is kind of an interesting pattern right here because I think this was all preloaded the day before they knew the filing was going to come out. I think the market makers probably knew the filing was going to come out after market. And you sort of see this just like almost exact mirror image. You see the algo working really hard along this line that's dragging the moving averages, and then the way this comes down and over is just basically sort of mirror image and flip of the way this comes over and down. And then it's just right back to the algo. So it's pretty much like this gap is here, doesn't care about it, immediately worked it back down, filled the gap, and then is just right back on its line. There's a couple things that are sort of interesting when you start to look at what the market makers are actually doing here. Now, just one of the things someone was telling me is like, market makers are selling off SMCI. I'm not seeing that anywhere in all the sites I look at. Maybe, if you have a source on that, like when you put a comment, try to put a source, because people say so many different things, and then it's really hard to check like what you're saying, where you got it, who's the people like, oh, I heard on the internet. Like, well, there's a lot of people on the internet, and most of us are idiots. So that doesn't really just because something's on the internet doesn't really prove anything. So as for all the fun I like to have and jokes I like to tell and sort of silliness, I try to go back to basically to numbers instead of just like speculating are institutions buying or selling. Like, look at the filings. I know some of them are delayed, but and that's another thing that's very interesting about the short is like Ortex is way behind on the short, but just looking at institutional long shares, they're up to 56%, 332 million shares. I mean, this just cracked 300 million the other day. So filings continue to pile in, and again, a lot like Susquehanna, for instance, they have the latest shares they holding 26 million shares, 4.5% of the company. That's a slight reduction from their last quarterly filing, but interestingly, they cut their price target at $15. And you'd think, if they actually believed as an institution, and I know this is just like one analyst's opinion, that doesn't necessarily mean that every single person or trader or executive or whatever, EVP, every corner office, Tom, Dick, and Harry believes, that the stock is worth that particular. That's just basically one person or one team's opinion. But it's certainly, a little bit suspect when you're the lowest analyst on the entire block and your boss, your company owns a shit ton of shares. It just kind of reeks. It just kind of stinks. Just doesn't really smell right. Just hits you here, gets you right here. Right by right here, I mean a little bit below the belt. But you see, we're finally getting away from that split adjusted price where every single position was at 42.90, because it was all the price basically like from the 9 to 1, whatever it is, and you saw all these companies increase by 900%, 900%, 900%, and you're still seeing a lot of that. But what you're seeing in addition to that is a lot of these are like 1800. So it's like you got to basically divide that by 9. So it basically doubled. That's like 200%. You're starting to see a lot of these that are, way over, like State Farm Growth Fund, for instance. It's not a huge position, but they increased like 3,200%, 32 times. So, you take away the 9, it's basically like a 4x. So you can start to see a lot of these filings as legitimate institutions are just actually increasing their shares, and that's reflected here. So what's going on? I mean, what's going on is basically dumping, shorting, and I feel like they're washing out not just like swing traders who were trying to trade around this filing, but day traders who I think they're starting to recognize a lot of those patterns, and market makers are one step ahead of day traders. I tried day trading for a while, and some days I made money, but it was way too difficult, and I'm not smart enough, and I don't have the attention span to do it, and it just wasn't for me. I mean, it's really hard, and they say like 95% of day traders lose money, and I mean, 90% of us retail traders probably lose money in general, because even like those of us that have like long-term core positions, we're trading in and out too much like hamsters on crack and just making poor emotional decisions because, we got daddy issues or whatever. So, it's really hard to take. If you could completely take emotion, fear, FOMO out of investing, we'd all be wealthy. We'd all be making optimized decisions. We'd all be trading like, investment banks, and we'd all be, we'd all have mansions in Connecticut and third wives named Buffy. But that's not the real world, guys. Oh, this isn't a Ryan Phillippe movie. Are you guys with me in that the show The Girl Next Door wasn't really that compelling in terms of the acting, but there was one breakout performer, one Hank Baskett, former Philadelphia Eagles receiver. The acting chops of Hank Baskett, I think, surprised a lot of us. I don't know why I was thinking of that. I was just like, the guy seemed so like, I don't know. I haven't seen that show since COVID, but it's just so dumb. The guy seemed like so, I don't even know why I thought of it. I think just because I saw his name somewhere, reading some obscure stats. It was just hilarious. Like, I really don't like the show. I'm just a huge fan of Hank Baskett's acting. It looked like he wanted to dive out a window. I would have dove out my window with this SMCI price action today, but I'm on the first floor. I probably would have just sprained my fat head and had to go right back to work. But anyway, just wanted to show you that, guys. Institutional shares, insider shares are going, and that was another big headline today in addition to the sort of Barclays hit piece, which was timed. I mean, just timed perfectly. Now, the Fugazi there, in terms of that Fugazi knockoff turd was, oh, this is Barron's. What the hell happened to that? I thought I had that Barclays article. Oh, you sons of bitches. Oh, I hate you guys. Let me put this and see if I can, what the fudge-sickle. Let me see if I can find that article for you guys. Sorry. My brain is just dead. I've been trying to cut back on the coffee with just in honor of not a lurker, and it's really been tough for me, guys. It's really been tough. Take a coffee away from a fat middle-aged man, you basically got nothing. You got a big suburban turd. Anyway. Nothing worse than a big turd from the suburbs looking for something to do. Honey, did you cut the grass? Like, I already did it yesterday, dear. Could you go down to the club and hang out with your friends for a while? Like, we can't afford a club, honey. Oh, shit. Should have married Phil Munker. Not Phil Munker again. Got to hear that story about how he's a big so-and-so, big executive at Mervyn's, running the whole shoe department. Oh my God. Anyway, sorry, I can't find the freaking article because I'm a moron. And my Google don't work. Is anyone else still using Ask Jeeves? That's a fine search engine. Probably why I can't really find anything. But volume pretty good today, 115 million shares. If by good you mean you like getting kicked in the nuts. A couple of the things, like, I just wanted to discuss a couple conceptual things because, like, then what do they say? Like, when the facts are against you, talk about the law. When the law is against you, just pound on the table. You got nothing today. I mean, shorts kicked it into high gear. Shorts kicked it in the nuts. The only thing I can say is this is very, very controlled. I think this was all pre-planned. I think this and this were both going to happen, whatever those numbers said. I think, they could have said Uncle Chucky is shitting solid gold eggs right now, so the company has unlimited free cash flow and our investors all get $1 trillion, and they would have sold this. It just didn't matter. And frankly, with the revised earnings, they were pretty weak. I mean, guidance was weak, but I'm looking at what they were forecasting, and there was a slight reduction, but keep the growth in perspective. Imagine a company growing the top line at 110% one year, then 54% next year, and they think, oh, growth got cut in half. That's horrible. But the company's growing very, very rapidly. The overall size of the company is like doubling, tripling, quadrupling. And then the beauty of it is the growth is going to re-accelerate, according to Uncle Chucky, in fiscal year 2026, which, by the by, starts on July 1st of 2025. So that fiscal year where they say they're going to do $40 billion, that starts in just like 5 months. So I don't think Chuckles is guessing. I think Chuckles knows exactly what he's talking about. I think Chuckles has about 50 to 60 IQ points on the smartest members of my audience and probably about 70 IQ points on me. I think a lot of people think he's shifty just because, he is shifty and the CEO's shifty and they do a lot of shifty accounting shenanigans. And even BDO, who's pretty sketchy in their own right, they barely signed off on that turd. Like I said, I think Aunt Sara might have had a Desert Eagle to one of those auditors' heads and was like, sign the fucking paper. And he's like, okay. But everybody's freaking out because Aunt Sara sold like $2-3 million worth of stock. They have they have some insane amount of shares, hundreds of millions of dollars. They own a big percentage of the company, and they don't take much salary. They got to eat. Aunt Sarah plays the ponies heavy. She's not just as good at that as she is at accounting, which ain't very good at all. Guys, by the way, welcome and hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me. I know sometimes it's hard to turn into the YouTubes when you're trying to ice your nutsack from a day like today, but I don't like taking these heavy paper losses, and I know heavy, but I don't like taking heavy paper losses. Of course, I'm not going to lie, but I say when you're shorting, you have to get people to sell and cover. And those are the retarders who are dumping. They're losing their money. And I think the reason they're doing this is because they're going to run this turd back up the flagpole. Right now, this is just way too controlled. Also, very critical level here we're sitting at right now. I mean, really topped out here was a little bit of resistance here, kind of from 2.7 to 2.12. Consolidated there from, end of November through sort of early mid-December. Consolidated again there through October. And, it served as it was a little bit of support right here after this particular free fall. See a lot of waterfall patterns on this guy. Just a gentle stream coming. You're just floating in a bathtub, just, scrubbing your back or whatever. You don't realize, oh, waterfall. Fat man down, back up. Waterfall, waterfall, waterfall. I mean, and then this more recent price action has just been just silly. It's just silly. I mean, I don't know any other way to describe it. It's painful, but it's silly. What else did I want to talk about? Well, here's the bear narrative in that Barclays. Sick, twisted, stupid, twisted thing was. I think the article was a couple days old, so they put a hold on the stock and a $59 price target, which represents a huge increase over where the stock is currently trading. It's in the low 40s. So that's a massive pop, and they wrote this big bearish article. But the whole thing is with this analyst, I don't think they can ignore the multiples. So you see Mizuho, this is a really, top analyst. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with old Vijay. He's got a $50 price target and a hold just initiated on the stock. You've got the George Wang, no offense, certified financial analyst, this turkey neck from Barclays. Did you just call me a jive turkey? Oh no, he didn't say jive turkey. He said he screwed your wife. No, he called me a jive turkey. Semi-pro, highly underrated Will Ferrell movie. Highly underrated. Then you, of course, got the great Ananda Bura with Loop Capital, and they raised their price target today yesterday, from $50 to $70. And this seems like one of the few people who actually do a lot of work in terms of understanding this company. Now, this guy doesn't have a lot of calls. His returns are freaking, through the roof. But you can't really, the data set there at 21 total ratings is so small that he might just be sort of on a momentum run. Even the great Mike Ng, a man who doesn't even need any vowels to spell his name. That's how powerful his 5 o'clock shadow is. He raised his price target generously from 36 to 40, but, that's Goldman. So, and anyway, that gets us right into the ballpark we're at now. Of course, the great Samik Chatterjee from JP Morgan, before any of these numbers came out, went from 23 to 35 in a sell, and that was sort of back on the pop, I think. So, anyway, blah, blah, blah. None of this is really relevant to anything, because if anything, this is just misinformation, misdirection. You kind of tell people who are actually trying to analyze the company and people who are just basically blowing smoke up your butt. But before I get to this sort of lack of growth, which is just so ridiculous. I mean, analysts are saying 2026 quarter starts in 5 months. They're saying, they're going to sell $33 billion. That's up from $15 billion, this year. So in 2 years, they will have more than doubled the top line. They're saying that's anemic growth, and management's saying it's 40 billion conservatively from there in 2 years. And while, net income is not going to grow a whole hell of a lot this year, you're looking at about 1.5. If you look at net income from 2024 to 2026, this is analyst estimates, it's going to more than double from 1.15 to 2.36. Now, again, put your thinking cap on. I know I'm not the, sharpest tool in the shed. I know I'm not, whatever you want to say, but this is just logical stuff. So if Chuckles is saying conservatively they're going to sell 40 billion and analysts are saying they're going to sell 33, and analysts have, net income about 3, you got to say, okay, if they're going to sell at least 20% more than that, you have to think margins, if anything, on those marginal units are probably going to get better. So that was one of the big things about the Barclays. They're saying, okay, they acknowledge Supermicro is a leader. They acknowledge they're the best in cooling. They're like, their moat is shrinking. How is their moat shrinking? With Blackwell rolling out, their core competencies that they're the best are more and more important than ever. So I just don't see where they're coming from in terms of his analysis that they're going to be under more margin pressure and they're going to have trouble meeting 14 to 17% margins. I know that shifty ass Wayland, that CFO, he was saying, margins are going to be more toward that, 17%. And he's like, well, there's so many, they're going to have trouble pulling those higher margins through. They're going to have, it was a big, huge word salad by this toss. Yeah, I don't know. I read the article a couple times, his comments, and it was just basically a bunch of crap that was just designed for maximum, because it was released right during this just huge, balls to the walls short attack today. So you say, okay, what's going on here? Just let me draw your attention to this particular period. The beginning of December through, or pardon me. Sorry guys, I'm really, really tired. Haven't slept. Let me get some water. Where's not a liquor? What's up, Oleg? What's up, Asai? What's up, Mac? Sure, I'll take a look at Wolf Stock. Why not? What's going on, guys? What's up, Clap My Dog, Johnny J? Yeah, it's a, but see, retailers are going to bail them out. They're going to let them cover. They shorted a bunch of shares between 55 and 65. They're going to let them cover at, between 45 and 35 or whatever it is. And there's just nothing I can do to stop. There's nothing I can do to prevent retail, who chased in the 50s or God forbid the 60s, from, then again going ahead and dumping at 41 or setting a stop loss at 42 or whatever it is. And market makers know. But anyway, let me just try to make a point, try to make one coherent point before I die, if that's even humanly possible. So this period, guys, from the 14th all the way down here to whatever it is, the 3rd. So after January, look at the short report, okay? Look at the short report. Just do me a favor. Do me a personal favor and look at the short report. So this came out yesterday, and the settlement date was in February the 14th. So this is basically what happened to the short after they count everything up between 31st of January, which is the 3rd of February, and the 14th of February. And what do you see? You see the short increase by 11% from 91 million to 102 million. Okay, so you see they're short an additional 10 million shares, or an additional 11.4%. And this is with these numbers. If you go through and you sort of look at these numbers, you look at how low the volumes are. 19 million, 17 million, 40, and it kicks up a little bit here. Actually quite a bit, 65, 55, and then starts kicking up a little bit more. But the highest it gets is 66 on the 14th. Right? And then, I just said right like a Canadian U-turder. I try to stop myself from doing that, but I watch so much Canadian U-turd programming, or at least I used to when I had more time. I got used to saying right. I think it's from Financial Education, Jeremy. Do you guys watch that guy who say, like, only price pays? He was like a 10-time world trading champion or something. He looks just like that competitive eater that says, I eat animals. And he wears, like, Miami Vice blazers. And he makes a lot of videos, like, critiquing Financial Education, Jeremy. I like that guy. He's pretty smart. He like good stuff. It's like sort of like IBD setups, like Paul O'Neill, I think, who was also, besides inventing Investors Business Daily, he was a great player for the Yankees. He hit 2 home runs that time on Seinfeld. The kid wouldn't accept it, wouldn't give George the bat because it was an inside the park home run or the jersey, whatever it was. Um, God, something like that. But anyway, Paul O'Neill invented investors. So it's like he's playing setups like that, where it's basically if you're smart, you basically protect profit, minimize losses, you get confirmation that a stock is going up, you trade the meat of that run, and then you take your profits at a fixed point and you get out. And you don't worry about leaving money on the table. You take your profits and you get out because you're smart. Because you're not an idiot. You're not a big, fat idiot U-turder. But anyway, that guy's pretty smart, and I like that he makes fun of U-turders. Sir, if you're listening, price pays guy, please make fun of me. Gimme. I need. I haven't reached a U-turd stature because nobody cares about me because I just caring about these idiotic stocks. Like SoFi, but like, you pick terrible stocks. I'm like, well, you decide when you buy and sell them. Like, I was carrying you should buy SoFi at 5. And that, not that long, went to 18. So if you were trading or whatever, wanted to swing, wanted to just take your profits, could have like 3.5x your profits. I mean, God, every Tom, Dick, and Harry was talking about SoFi, so it wasn't like my idea. I mean, that was a great pick. I mean, SMCI, God, I mean, people was like, what should I do? Like, if you're trading, you got to take profits, guys. I said that comment after comment after comment. People are like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I'm like, listen, man, take some of your profits. Always take some profits. I take profits over and over on this stock. But, I mean, this thing went from 17 in short order all the way up to 48, back down to 24, 25, and 65. What do you want? Be slapped across the head with a cold, hard salami to wake you up? It like 3x'd, and then it 2.5x'd. I mean, these runs are right in front of you. I mean, I'm not saying you have to try to play calls I mean, just buy low and sell high. Like, I can't be responsible if you buy the top and FOMO and then just panic and shit your pants and dump when they drop the stock like this. Yeah, I mean, they're dropping the stock because they want to cover their short at a huge profit, and they're counting on you being a weak sack of, limp shit. And you are, and so am I, and we all are, because it's impossible for human beings to take emotion out. Unless you're a corner office cokehead playing with other people's money, so you just don't care. Right? Institutions don't care about paper losses. It's like, it's A to B. A is where they buy in. B is the profit they're going to take. They don't care if it dips along the way. If anything, they want it to dip along the way to wash out retail, make more money, sell up, all these things. They make money 10 different ways. They're not setting up a popsicle stand. Their kid needs to go on a sports trip. What about those high-pressure candy sales, like school fundraisers? Where I live, the freaking education foundation, they want you to give like 20 grand. What am I, pissing money here? No thanks. What are my property taxes for? Fucking little Proctor can have a supplemental lacrosse team? We really need a supplemental professional lacrosse coach so Proctor can develop. Hey, fuck you. Oh, I hate it here. I love it here, but I hate it here. It's funny. Some guy was like, oh, you're just a fat Cali lib. I don't know. I don't think so. I have a gun rack in my truck. I don't know how liberal I could be, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not psychotic. I don't want to kill people who disagree with me. I just, it's funny. People are funny. I don't know. People are so angry. Like, what are you angry about? Because I make stupid YouTube videos? There's so many things in the world you should actually be angry about. My bad jokes. I mean, tune out. I invite you to tune out. You know, if you're just so angry you can't control yourself, like, just tune out. Anyway, no, it's just funny. Like, not that guy. He's cool, but like some of the comments I get and like the comments that are hidden, like YouTube hides them from you. And then the really bad ones, they like ask you like 4 times, like, "Are you sure you want to see it?" And every time I read them, I'm like, "Oh my god, I shouldn't have read that. That is so racist. That is so horrible." Like, it's just amazing what people say. Oh, but anyway, man. So I wasn't really sure what I was talking about. Yeah, so just look at it going up at that point on these volumes, and then all of a sudden on the 18th, on the 19th, the 20th, the 19th, it just where is this? No, the 19th, it just goes absolutely insane. The aggregate volume is half of like the volume it shows on most things. So that was the day it was like the 350 million volume day, and then it fell off quite a bit, but still extremely heavy. You see, it's just heavy shorting. And you might have seen a tiny bit of covering here, but basically like 35, a number 34, 35 is around neutral. If you're going to see sort of mild, you're going to see a lot of covering, you'd be more around 30, 31. See a lot of covering, you'd be down in the 20s, if not even lower, which you're not seeing anything like that. So we're back to 43, 42. So we're back to shorting the last 2 days. And of course you are. Because who's on the back of that news? I mean, and just hugely important is this article. This is over on Fox Business. Nvidia CEO, the man in the leather jacket, the man who doesn't age, the man who is just like, the guy's just so fucking on it. I wish I was like 1% this competent. I just had, wear a brand new leather jacket. You just don't give a fuck. You just don't give a fuck. Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck? As the formerly great, we were having a good discussion. Somebody on a different, some bulletin board, something about how we used to like Howard Stern. It's just unbearable now. It's funny. For me, it's not a political thing. It's just entertainment. I just used to think he was really funny. And now I don't. So can't control what makes you laugh. So anyway, just keep in mind what Supermicro is to Blackwell and the fact that they are, and I don't care what anyone else says, do your own research on this. Don't take my word for it, because I have the technical expertise of a, tree sloth. But Supermicro is, I think, significantly the leader in liquid cooling. They can make denser solution with Blackwell, faster, more energy efficient, and they have been working on this longer. And they're saying, like the Barclays article was saying, hey, Dell and HP are catching up. Well, Dell and HP can catch these nuts. And they keep comparing like it's fucking apples to apples. Dell is not growing. Look at their top line. 86 billion topped out in 2022 and 2023. They hit 100 billion. Then their sales fell 12% to 88 billion. And their margins are dog shit. So everybody's like making this apples to apples comparison. Well, you should just buy Dell then, because on their PE isn't as high. Well, fuck you. Like all these articles, they act like they're not growing. They're like the growth is slowing. The growth is stopped. How? It's a fugazi. And you see that in the institutional ownership. What else did I tell you was going to happen? And again, I completely say it. The price is falling, beg 1,000. I cannot control the price. They can sell the news. They can do whatever they want. These guys are very, very, very well funded. Very well funded. Live short interest today, by the way. Yeah, they're borrowing after hours. They shorted again. keep borrowing more and more to short again. But what did I mention was going to happen? You see this with Neo, where they have like 160 million shares sold short, but they're borrowing like 430 million shares. It's like literally 2.5 times. Just you're thinking like they're going to short this thing down to like -7. They're going to short this thing down to the nub of my colon. Just drive a stake through my left eye. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. My apologies. Sorry, guys. I'm having a lot of trouble focusing. I'm just very, very tired. I need like, I wouldn't say I need a quadruple espresso. I need like a octo espresso. I need like basically a 20-ounce mug full of espresso. Like 40 shots. Go into a Starbucks, I'm like, can I get a latte with 1% milk and like 40 shots of espresso? Sir, that's going to kill you. No, it won't. Trust me. It'll just make me slightly less drowsy. Anyway, so look what's happened on just on February. What is this? February 13th, there was 184 million shares on loan. Just like, what is that, 8-9 trading days later? 140. So they've returned 40 million shares. And you're going to see that continue to flip, and then they're going to drive the stock sky high. Say, how do you know? What if they're wrong this time? What if they just lose money? What if you're just a big, fat asshole? What if it's a Denny Green? Like, you are who I thought you were. You big turd. I like that Denny Green quote. They are who we thought they were. Great. It's like, no excuses, dude. Did Denny Green die? I hope not. Goes back to my old theory. Fat people don't live that long. Oh, how unfortunate for me. But anyway, so I think you're going to see the short interest is just so far off. I mean, you saw how far off it was then, and then the report is, 102 million short. And then my point is, since then, you have these 4 days where they're just completely shorting on tilt, and they haven't covered anything. So with these volumes and these percentages, there has to be, somebody who's better at math than me, somebody who's more smarter than me, could probably do some more slide rule, break out a slide rule, possibly an abacus. If you know an old Asian man who smokes in a back room, just working the abacus, counting up illegal gambling receipts, something out of an 80s movie perhaps. Smoky atmosphere. Some neon lights just blinking inexplicably through a window. Perhaps it's a Steven Seagal movie. And he does a sprint where he has like flappy arms. If you sprinted like that, why would you always put yourself sprinting in the movie? Nico, cop with an eye. You could be Nico without sprinting. Like, the sprinting was always so prominently featured in those Seagal movies. Then he had that really weird hairline for a while. And he had like a facelift plus the hairline. So the hairline would pull into that ponytail when he was balding. Oh, man. It's like a tough, more athletic Chevy Chase kind of used to dress like that in those movies. Like kind of that, Fletch outfit, slacks, some kind of like, it's like some gray, like London fog or, jacket. Maybe style it up with a members only jacket. Oh, but anyway, if you look at the aftermath, and after all, aftermath gets the last laugh. If you look at the aftermath of all this carnage, basically, for people asking like how much I lost today, I'll post that up. I got off work. I lost a ton. I lost an ass ton. If you take an ass load and you back up a Brinks truck and you load a boat, combine all those, that's how much I lost. But I don't know, it's a lot. But I'll post up my my shit again tomorrow, or screenshots of my fabulous SMCI position. I bought a ton more. The reason is just simple. Ramping sales of 40 billion. Even if they hit analyst expectations and miss what they're talking about by, 16%, it's still 65% growth, what they're calling for. 24 billion, to 30. No, that's not 65. 65 would be if they hit 40. Sorry. Again, mine's not working very good. Can't do basic math. And I think I was a math major at one point when I was much younger and smarter. So anyway, if you look at the short, they were shorting 102 million and then they went completely on tilt. I've never seen volumes like this. I mean, trading the 350 million, I mean, that's like 60% of the float. And then you want to say, though, this won't squeeze, but it's like they're setting up a squeeze on purpose. They're setting up a huge move to the upside with as few of us retarders hanging on to their coattails as humanly possible. Because us retarders are the redheaded stepchildren of the stock market. You're not going to the ball, Danny. Scrub the floor. Looks like you've already turned into a pumpkin. Oh, delightful. Oh, Uncle, you're such a scamp. Always poking fun and making wry remarks at my expense while I do this monotonous housework ad nauseum. Oh, it's delightful. Anyway, guys. So, yeah. What if there's 130 million shares on short and, sold short and insiders own 15% of the float minus a few shares and Sara dumped on us. And then institutions, already with the filings, they own 55. But did they dump at the top? I don't think so. I think they just shorted the top. They're going to wash out retarders, sell retarders. Do you see those call? Thank God I wasn't buying calls at the top. But if I had a fucking brain in my head, if I had a fucking half a brain in my head, I would have been selling calls up there. Because of course they're not going to let me make all this money. Of course not. Not going to let Danny win. But anyway, what's going to happen tomorrow? Is it just going to keep up this free fall? Just depends really what retail is the wild card. Retail has to keep dumping into this. They have to keep getting the emotional response. But at what point do these multiples just not make any sense? I mean, at what point do you say, hey, there's a reality here, and the reality here is if conservatively this figure is 40 billion, and they were just selling 5 billion in 2022. Think about that, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4 years. 1, 2, 3, 4 years to 8x your sales. And Jensen is telling you nothing is going to slow down. Okay, he co-founded the company in 1993. Right? I was in high school. This guy's fucking co-founding Nvidia. I'm trying to reprimer my Camaro. That's why I haven't gone anywhere. So basically he's saying adoption is incredibly fast in what the CEO described as core technology builders, the model builders and the companies that are building consumer-oriented AIs. The frontier models and all of the startups trying to build the next generation of frontier models, they're racing to get to the next level. He added agentic AI. This is agents. I don't understand all this, but it's not really that complicated if you kind of read explanations. I can't remember anything. I'm a complete fuckhead. Developing very nicely and likely to come on next, according to Huang. Is that Huang or Huang? I always see people say Huang. That's Huang? I don't know. I say things Huang. He always, as Sublime said, he always did things the Huang way. No, I think it's Huang. Why can't I remember anything? It's lack of sleep. It's honestly lack of sleep. But this guy's a total badass. I mean, he's so fucking smart. Why couldn't I have been born just a little bit more smarter? Life would have been so much easier. I've had to work so hard for my piece of the pie. And I'm stupid. I always give it back. Let's buy some SMCX and just lose like 30% of our money in one day. 'Cause I'm an asshole. Said Dennis. Remember that Dennis Leary song? He's an asshole. He's an asshole. He's an asshole. Oh, the asshole. That was a pretty bad song. So this is AI that understands the laws of the physical world. This is crazy. It understands things like inertia and gravity and cause and effect and object performance, and will use that for self-driving cars, robotic systems, things of that nature. Huang said such industries are kind of coming in waves and building on top of each other. This is the really important part I want you to listen to. Meanwhile, on the topic of data centers, they want you, one of the Fugazi narratives these shorts are using, and remember, they are shorts. They are shorts. They make money talking the stock down. Same thing they did with Hindenburg. You know, Hindenburg went out of business, and even though BDO said there were improper controls, they didn't write anything down. So the numbers were fine. And if you actually look at these related party transactions, they were a minuscule part of the overall numbers. In short, it all looks like it was all bullshit. Now, you still have a Justice Department investigation. You still have an SEC investigation. They might drag old Danny Deals off. I'm going to say I was manipulating the numbers. They said, Danny Deals, you selling potato chips in China. I said, no. I was eating potato chips in Chinatown. You got the wrong guy. Not guilty. Y'all got to feel me. I said, Danny Deals is a funny Rob Dyrdek. It's a pretty bad show, but I like big. So I like big men. Not like, heterosexual. I mean like that. I like big black men. But no, big black on that show. That guy was funny. Like, it was like Rob Dyrdek was such an idiot, and it was like, I don't know, but it was just funny. It was like put on this fat suit once into this court thing. It's just a phrase that stuck with me. He's like, "How do you plead?" And he's like, "I'm chunky as charged." I always remember that. It's pretty funny. But anyway, back to data centers. Not only is CapEx, listen, meanwhile, on the topic of data centers, Jensen said, Jensen is so much easier for me to say than Huang or Huang. I think it's Huang. But I don't know why I can't remember that. Do you ever know something that like you can't, like, you know it, like 100% know it, like 99 times out of 100, but when you don't want to say it, but then when you want to say it, it's like, it just won't come into your mind. And then like 5 minutes later, when you don't need to know it anymore, it's like, oh, I'm so stupid. Like, yeah, we all knew that. I wasn't asking for a commentary. Not only is the CapEx larger, so I can't even focus enough to get out one sentence. This is what's wrong with me, folks. This is what's wrong with me. Capital expenditures are showing huge growth in comparison to last year. Now, this is when you remember SMCI's 10K. He said, we're setting up for huge jobs. Listen to this. Not only is the CapEx larger, the amount of that CapEx that is dedicated to AI is going to be far greater. We're seeing very robust growth for this year compared to last year. Very robust growth. And I think we're teed up for some pretty great build-outs of these data centers to produce essentially what I call AI factories, which in the future will transform energy, if you will, into digital intelligence. We've got several years, listen to this, we've got several years, many years of build-outs to go. So people are saying this is topping. I don't think they know what they're talking about. And they're this fear, this amazing fear with DeepSeek. Jensen doesn't seem super afraid. He seems Botoxed, but not afraid. Huang also discussed DeepSeek, a Chinese startup that released models claimed are capable of leading much lower cost. We all know about DeepSeek, referred to or blue in the face. The startup has opened up reasoning AI and opened up a whole new field that consumes enormous amount of Nvidia's computing capability, with many AI developers making use of the new type of models. New generation of AI models has caused demand to be really high. So now he might be completely full of shit here, and he might be completely scared, and his testicles might have retreated right up into his duodenum for all I know. But I'm no physician, so I don't know exactly how it works. Like a turtle thing, suck them up. Turtle hiding in a shell, what happens? I don't know. I've never been on this type of stage, never done a Steve Jobs, never been out there in a sweater trying to explain like an iPhone. Pull over right now. It's like, no, thank you, officer, it's a cardigan. Who's that comedian who pulled over the guys in Dumb and Dumber? Can't remember that guy's name. He starred in a movie, I believe, with Kelsey Grammer called Down Periscope. Brilliant little film. I think every actor in that film mailed in their performance, including that guy. It was the only thing he ever starred in. It's like some comedian, he makes like funny sounds. Now listen to me, Pilgrim. So this is again. They start to go on, about like how they're working with Trump on the export restrictions, the administration. I don't doesn't sound like a big problem in terms of demand, but they're talking about. But the net of it all is, if you look at where Nvidia's computers that are going to China today, you compare it against what we just launched this quarter, this record-breaking quarter we had with Grace Blackwell. The comparison of technology anywhere from 20 to 60 times higher performance to what we currently have in the United States. So every day that goes by, the export controlled technology is further and further behind, if you will, in a lot of ways. And remember, Microsoft today, I don't know if it was today they had the discussions, but today there was an article that came out that I was reading. I didn't have a chance to read it all, but I want to go back and read it all because it was very important. But Microsoft asked the Trump administration to change certain aspects of these chip restrictions because, in their opinion, and Microsoft works a lot with the U.S. government in terms of internet security, so they're very ingrained in the government, and not like at an Elon level, but they're, they got a seat at the table. They got their finger in a few pies, if you know what I mean. It's another way of saying every day that goes by, we're making that technology slower. And so it's like they're standing still, and the Chinese still, they can't make their own chips like this. They're just not there yet. Nvidia is still ahead. Now, they might not be ahead in the models, but Nvidia doesn't make models. Nvidia makes chips. That's up to people like, an Elon Musk or an OpenAI or many, many other players, a Google, Amazon, of course, Microsoft, all these companies. Microsoft is with OpenAI, I guess. That Sam Altman guy. I guess him and Elon really hate each other. Elon co-founded OpenAI, and they wanted to. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the dispute is. I think they were going to do an MMA fight, but then they just decided, what's the fucking point? We're already all billionaires here, so why beat the hell out of each other? Let's beat up this fat guy over here. He looks poor. I think he's on YouTube. So what? Maybe he'll broadcast it. His interview with Clayman came in Nvidia released fourth quarter earnings. Company generated, and this, you guys all know this. Everybody's talking about it. They got hammered today, and I mean, I don't know if they pretty rich multiple 45 because everybody thinks it's topping, but I don't think it's topping. There's just more and more data. I mean, I look at a company like Google. Google has more data than anybody. And I just read a story today how Tesla is training, because Tesla can't transfer data between China and the United States. It's like part of the restriction of them being able to own their own factory in China, which is a very unusual circumstance. The only other company that I guess they might allow to do it is Toyota. They're going to start going now, because every other company, they have to basically partner with an indigenous Chinese company. Most of those are run by the state. So yada, yada, yada. But the point is, like, there's going to be, Tesla basically said they could train their AI models for full self-driving with existing footage, say, dash cam footage or YouTube footage or whatever. And who owns more video footage than anyone in the world, or can at least use it to train AI models? It's Google. Google Maps, they know where you're going. They know I mean, I think Google has infinitely more data than even Tesla. Maybe not video of them driving per se, or, but some of these companies, and it's no different. Other companies are collecting data other ways, but it's not just Tesla building. All of these companies are heavy. And then a lot of companies you wouldn't even think are looking at AI. They're making huge investments in AI. SoftBank, sales, all of them. There's billions and billions and billions of dollars. And Nvidia has better solutions for less money. Nvidia has the best mousetrap right now. And they're saying, the Barclays guys saying their moat is shrinking, but for right now, they're the best. What was holding back their money, they were trying to get their money right the last couple of quarters, but this Ernst & Young thing kicked them right in the nuts, but it was a problem of their own making because they're shady as fuck. Their accounting practices are shady as fuck. And I was talking to some brilliant guy in my comments here. They couldn't fire that CFO and hire a new one yet because he knew where all the bodies were buried. Ernst & Young basically, made him walk the plank to quit in the middle of an audit when you know what that's going to do. I mean, there must have been some pretty extreme shifty shit. Because if there wasn't, they'd probably go ahead and sue Ernst & Young, but there's probably some agreement that you can't sue your auditor, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm only an expert on bird law. It's taught by the best. Charlie Kelly School of Law. Located just outside of Uh, SCMI, it could be 39. It's looking pretty bleak, Mo. It may be. I will buy a lot more. I mean, does that multiple make sense to you at 39? They can take it back to 25. They could take it as low as they want, but I think a lot of retail investors will start to buy that dip. Retail investors love to buy the dip. They love to sell panic, but then they love to buy the dip once they kind of settle down and look at the facts. I mean, profit cures a lot of things. Hey, what do market makers like to do more than anything? What is market makers' sort of special sauce? The raison d'être. What do they like to do? Okay, they like to take stocks that retail have been hanging on to their hopes and dreams because they're highly risky, right? They're riding position, or at least they make them out to be risky. Like SoFi is a great example. Palantir would have been another example. They want to buy the stock at a de-risked price, or excuse me, they want to buy the stock at a risk-on price once the risk is off. Remember, so many of us who were little SoFi fanboys were like, okay, when they make a gap net profit, it's going to moon. It's going to double. It's going to triple. Look out 40. Like you're saying, bunch of idiots. But of course, they sold that news. They don't care. What difference does it make to market makers if you make 1 cent or lose 2 cents? The growth trajectory is what matters. I was saying way too much focus on gap net profit. Doesn't mean it's not the same as cash flow. It's not keeping the company. Who cares what your gap net profit is? It's like a couple of pennies. You're not going to pay a dividend for 10 years anyway. You're not going to get any of that cash cochise. All you care about is the share price. Their hair lies. I can't rhyme anything with share price. There's no name that rhymes with price. I mean price, thrice. I don't know. It's hard to think. Lack of sleep. If you're portly, you need more sleep. You need more snacks. I've been eating healthy for like 3 days. Might kill me. Might die from lack of calories. Probably only ate about 4,400 calories. No, I don't know, guys. I had way too much coffee, and then I crashed, and I stopped drinking coffee, been drinking water. Ugh. Anyway, I don't really have the energy to read your comments. I know the stock's gone down. I really like. Of course, paper losses suck, and I don't like to see them either. But shorts have a debt to pay. They have to cover. They want to cover low. They're going to make money off somebody. They're not going to make money from me. I'm not going to dump my shares at 39. I'm not going to dump my shares at 35. I'm going to load. Because this company's making money already. You look at sort of the valuation, the price, and you think the company's going bankrupt. But they just raised $700 million at very, very favorable terms. They're like, well, they're going to be delisted. They're going to call it all that best of us, dude. Somebody's like, watch this. Isn't it dilution? Aren't they lying? It's like, no. No, they're not. This appears to be a confused elderly gentleman, very affable, but just doesn't seem to understand the first thing about what he's talking about. Nobody counts those shares as dilution now. That might be converted in a few years, Nobody, no company. And it's not a scam at all. It's in fact probably the best way to raise money, and they're raising money for hypergrowth. I mean, no one grows like this. Multiplying sales by 8 in 4 years. Nobody. And this conservatively should be 40 billion. And the year he's talking about starts July 1st. So that's only 5 months away. So he knows the orders are there. Jensen knows the orders. They've already allocated the processors. There's stuff's in the works. They just can't talk about it yet. What they're saying mirrors each other. What he's saying in this interview about data centers, about big orders, what Uncle Chucky said, it's accurate. Like, hey, invest in, show me Dell and HP growing at 100% or 50% or 60% or any percent. They're shrinking at the top line. They reached peak oil 2 years ago. Those fuckers. Guys, I can't believe I've been rambling for an hour. I'm exhausted. I'm losing my voice. I got to get the hell out of here. But just read Jensen's comments. Nvidia's been doing share buybacks. Nvidia ain't scared of DeepSeek. Everybody keeps buying this. Everyone's doing it. It's a race to implement AI. It's a huge cost savings. It's a huge efficiency. It's the next thing that's going to drive American efficiency and innovation. We had an industrial revolution. We had, electrification, highway systems, all these different things, mass air travel. And then the big one was the .com, the internet, the internets, the interwebs. Changed everything. You got to ask Jeeves. You can ask Jeeves anything. Gives you an answer right away. Guy's wearing a tuxedo with tails. I love Ask Jeeves. I asked Jeeves the other day, a good Mexican restaurant in the area. Sent me on a winding lost journey about 100 miles away. Ended up eating sweet and sour pork. But hey, I'm not going away from Ask Jeeves. I made a commitment. Made a commitment to my late grandpappy. Never to use anything other than Ask Jeeves. I'm going to honor that commitment. Oh, guys. Let me move this thing so I can see a little bit. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow, Mo, where does it go tomorrow? Could it go mid-30s? How low can it go? I mean, how low can it go? Because Mo is in the know. Mo money, Mo money, Mo money. Without using yo money, yo money, yo money. You guys remember the show In Living Color? That was a good show, man. Those guys were hilarious. Jim Carrey. Fire Marshal Bill. Anywho, Skerdoo. We got, sorry, Reg Dude. I'm Reg Dude. I do my best, man. I try to come on. I had a busy ass day. I work hard sometimes. Sometimes I don't work smart, but I work hard. I work stupid and I work hard. Got to work very hard because I work very stupid. Spend half my day trying to remember what I was supposed to do, and the other half my day trying to remember where I put my cell phone or my fucking keys. I was going to try snorting Ritalin, but I lost him. Hey guys, I can't find my ADD medication. Help me look. Don't get old, guys. Don't get old. Oh, you got to make these old man stretches. Like you look like one of those car wash dolls. Wacky inflatable. Anyway, guys, I don't really know what I'm talking about. SMCI 76,318. Mo, the chart, it could go. I mean, these same, and you're like, how do I know they're gonna make Vanguard? Okay, they always make money. BlackRock, Susquehanna, who put a $15 price target, owns 5% of the company. FMR LLC. You see the shorts flipping. You're going to see the shares on loan go down. You're going to see the short go up. Then you're going to see the stock take off. You're going to see shorts up. And maybe a lot of us will have dumped at the lows. Institutional ownership will go up to maybe 65%. Insiders will be at 15 or 12. And there will be 20% of the shares left to fight. Did you guys see institutional ownership when they ran Palantir up? It was high. It got very high. They don't like retail to win. What did I say? I mean, I was squawking about Palantir valuation. Huge pullback. Huge pullback off the highs. Were they 125 down to 80? I mean, it's still overvalued, guys. It's still I mean, the same types of things that can affect, new models can come out and disrupt what Palantir, and people know they can't because they don't know how to use their data. But they're finding new ways to train data without the same tags, without the same background information, without the same categorization. AI is getting smarter. AI is getting more efficient in ways that I can't possibly understand. So I'm trying to speak in generalities, of course. What's that movie? He's like, we've all seen our share of pornography. And he's like, of course not, sister. I was merely speaking in generalities. What price is going to open at tomorrow? God, I don't know. They might try to open it up like 39, then pump it. They might hit it a little bit and then pump it. I don't know why I'm looking at a stupid Dell chart. Looking at where we are, what do I think it'll open at tomorrow? That's a tough one. There's a lot of nice consolidation. I mean, I say a lot, 4 days right in here. 40 level looks pretty good. And then again, you see pretty good was resistance here, broke through a little bit, and just a hell of a lot of consolidation here. I don't know, 40 is a pretty key level, but if it falls below 40, I mean, where are you going to find some type of support? Maybe you'll find a little something right in here. A little something. You've had a few blips on the chart. Basically, when it fell off a cliff, came down here all the way in 37. I don't know where you could find some support. 36, 37 looks pretty good. But, you know, get a good look at a T-bone by sticking your head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it, if you know what I mean. Know what I mean? Yeah, well, clicking uncle. Won't leave your house. Hey, you hear your joke? Know what I mean? Go get your sister. Why are you clicking at me, Uncle Reno? You're not even really my uncle, are you? Oh, no, I'm not. Know what I mean? Here for a free meal. Yeah, but you've been here for 3 weeks. Give me a beer. Anyway, guys. Do you know what inference is? Just heard that term about 2 weeks ago from AMD. Yeah, I've read definitions of all these guys. It's like how they use the data that's fed into it. But I don't claim to understand all the nuances of AI. But I would have to look again. But I shared it with people. It was maybe like a month ago. This lady's blog was like a technologist. She wrote this incredibly great write-up on different types of AI. I could go back and find the article, but it was extremely informative for a layperson. Because she was talking about DeepSeek and what it did and why it was so revolutionary and how other AI... It gave a really good understanding of what these AI models are, what AI actually is, what it's used for, how it works, how it's built, how it stacks upon, previous AI. It's kind of all cumulative, all these things. These models are going to change, but I don't think it necessarily means there's going to be a lack of demand for what SMCI does, and I don't think it's going to mean a lack of demand for, the higher end Nvidia chips. There's always going to be a demand for the best and the latest at the highest end. Now, maybe it won't be, as broad. Maybe some, will take the last generation or 2 generations and they'll be able to work with it. But I think there's always going to be, demand for the cutting edge, even as, data use in these models are more efficient, cheaper, etc. These cheaper models build on other models, it seems to me. Somebody's got to invent the wheel of cheese. The market makers knew we were all expecting the stock to... Of course. Yep. Shadow Puppets got it figured out. They saw all the enthusiasm. They're like watching this thing run up. I still think the stock is going to go to 89, but stocks don't go up in a straight line. They go up in a wacky, shark tooth mountain patterns, weird pattern. You see these patterns, how crazy it is. And this is kind of the counterpoint to this in a weird way. I mean, not really, but hey, I see what I want to see. YouTube Premium. Yeah, Javier, you could watch this whole hour in only 15 minutes, or just skip to the end and skip it all and just don't watch any of it if you have a brain in your head. Arnie's Army's back. What's up, Arnie? How you doing? Old cornbread's okay. He's a little bit burnt, a little bit tired, a little bit stale, like my jokes, but I'm doing okay, Arnie. Holding up okay. Long time no talk. We last chatted. It was about an awful Boston. What's up, Jason? I remember. Jason C. What's going on, Jason C? Tyrone Jenkins. This guy looks like a young. Thank you, Tyrone. Oh, what a kindness. What a kindness. A young fat Paul Newman, I like to say, but yeah, at least you didn't say Seth Rogen. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys that play into my bits, stupid as they are. Where's Carl Seamark when you need him? The Mattress King of Chicago. What are your thoughts on high institutional ownership? Wolf has 92% institutional, 91 supply to EV semiconductor companies. What's the ticker? Is it Wolf? I don't know. Wolf Speed? What the fuck is this? Technology stocks, blah, blah, blah. Growth stocks. So this must be the stock you're talking about. Wolf Speed. Got about a 900 market cap. Let's see. Just because I'm not sleepy somehow, even though I've not slept in like 24 hours. I don't know what's wrong with me. Let's take a look at this piece of shit. Okay. Growth is basically stalled out like a big fat turd. Gross profit has gone from 200 million down to 70 million. Gross profit margin has gone from 36 to 9. Whew. I don't know, man. Well, I have to do some more research because sometimes things happen. It looks really bad on these numbers. Not that bad, but yeah, I don't know. Market cap's gone from 8 billion down to 1 billion. Net debt has gone to 5 billion. Or no, 5 billion in the positive. So they have a bunch of cash. They got a bunch of cash on the books. Cash flow from investing, negative $1 billion. Cash flow from financing. What do they own? A bunch of Bitcoin? What the fuck are these guys? I honestly don't know anything about this company, as you might have noticed. I think I've heard of them, but somebody was asking me, like, some guy was like outraged because I'm not following the earnings reports of Herbalife. Like, fucking Herbalife's an obscure supplement, like, multi-level marketing company. It used to be under the Justice Department. Uses after that fucking guy all the time. I kind of through roundabout way know that family. But not like personally, but traveled in the same circles. I can't follow every single fucking company. You say, oh, did Microsoft have good earnings? Did Chevron? I probably, most of those things I at least read an article, at least glance at the financials. Now, if I own it, like Microsoft, I'll take a little bit more careful look. How do they do, with cloud? How do they do with different things that are supposed to be growing? Were they growing as fast? You try to take a look. But I don't own Herbalife. I never intended to own it. Why would I read their fucking earnings report? I'm busy, believe it or not. I know I just seem like a big, stupid, fat asshole who's working down at the Walmart. It may be true. I don't like to be painted with that broad a brush. I'd love to do some volunteer work or whatever. Well, I get paid. By the way, Jason C., I'm still looking for Jason Joseph. Anybody can produce Jason Joseph. I'll make you a moderator. Not really. I have to ask Not a Lurker. Georgios, you're damn right. BlackRock runs the world, man. And their little vanguard just comes along. Denny Green did die. Well, he was who I thought he was. He's a good coach for the Vikings, man. He can coach some of those like Randall Cunningham teams. Randall Cunningham's Eagles. Randall Cunningham played for several teams. He played for the Vikings. Am I wrong? Ugh. Rest in peace, Denny. Fellow big man. Oh, I gotta get in shape. Good morning, Russell Cade. What's going on, Russell? We got Mac 1111. SoFi is up 150, but scared to take profits by reducing the number of shares. Got 698. Didn't buy any over that price. I have a really good average on SoFi, and you know, I was tempted to sell some. I was like, you're gonna have a pullback, but I just love SoFi. I love the management. I love the model. I think it's durable. They're going to be able to add crypto back in. I think the bank charter is going to allow them to survive through recessions, depressions. What happens to Robinhood? Like if crypto crashes and, there's negative savings and all the, people pulling all the money, it's like, I don't know if there's much business there left beyond sort of the churn. Some of these businesses, like the payment for it looks great if everything's just going gangbusters. But a lot of these companies like Affirm and some of these other fintechs, they went very susceptible to downturns and they don't really have anything else. What if people aren't making these loans? What if there's no demand for them? What do you do? Do you have any place to pivot? Do you have any means to pivot? Do you have any plan to pivot? Anthony Noto has a plan. He has a plan A. He has a plan B. He has a plan fucking C. Nobody has a plan C. Anthony Noto has a plan C. Anthony Noto has great hair. Anthony Noto's at a golf course in a windbreaker talking about adjusted EBITDA like a boss. You basic bitch ass punk ass marks. Talking about Anthony Noto. Keep his name out your mouth, you punk ass bitches. Guy's my biological father. And I'll thank you not to disparage the man. Not for nothing. Top of his class engineering, United States Military Academy, All-American football player. Lifelong winner. Did I mention the great hair? I think equally important as management skills, that hair. Could be Botoxed, I don't know. But anyway, what do you love about this Wolf company, my man? You were talking about some stuff. Do you know what inference? Yeah, I know, but I can't remember. So their chips are better for inference. Well, I'm making an inference, and that's that I don't know shit. Best guess of when this thing flips, 2-3 weeks. You see that delayed fuse? It could be a couple weeks, could be a couple days. It's not going to be months. They're borrowing. I mean, the borrowing is, still pretty heavy. There's not much cost to it, but when it flips, there'll be a cost. It hasn't flipped yet. That rise from 40 to 65 in like 5 days, that's just stepped up, just walked up. They walked that turd up and then they stepped on our nuts. Big Ronald McDonald foot right to the groin. Anyway, guys, I got to get off this show. Hour and 17 minutes of not saying anything even remotely useful about anything. Sorry, Megatron. That sucks. Got stubbed a toe. It happens. It happens. I hope so, Katie. Lurker should be sleeping. Man like Lurker clearly gets his beauty sleep. He's got his head as smooth as a seal. No, seriously, I hope the great Naughty Lurker is feeling better. The great J Money, best moderator, best wrench in the business. Best wrench in the business. Say it again. Best wrench in the business. Okay, Birdie's pretty good too. We love Birdie too. I think Birdie's nephew's fictitious. I think he stole our extra wrench and I think he pawned it with Low Country Loot and Pawn. Anyway. Reg dude, the PCE report. What are they going to do? Drop it, 16% instead of 15%? I don't think bears give two shits about the PCE report or about the ER or anything else. Mechanics are mechanics. They don't care about numbers. They don't care about fundamentals. They just say, boss, give me a budget. Tell me where you want me to move the stock, and I'm going to get it done. I don't care if I have to break a few legs. I don't care if I have to bend a few rules. I don't care if I have to terrify a few middle-aged fat ute-herders. I don't care if I have to enlist the help of the Canadian fin-turd mafia. I don't care. Where is the big sexy? I need an article from Steve. I need another article in Seeking Alpha pumping the stock. Come on, Steve. Steve's probably buying this dip like a professional. I don't think Steve operates on fear. Man has a giant head. Looks like a freaking Idaho russet. It's unusual to have a man with that giant, giant head of that intellect. I got a pretty big head. It's not that giant, but I don't have that kind of smarts. Anyway, guys, I gotta go. It's been so stupid. I'm so tired. I hate you guys. SMCI. Anyway, guys, soon Poco Moss. Thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate it. I'll post all my huge losses tomorrow and some screenshots so you guys can laugh at me. Throw peanuts at me. Have a great night, guys. Or morning, whatever the fuck it is. I think I have to get up in like 47 minutes. And I've been up for like 23 hours. Oh, I hate you guys. Good night.